Available now on Amazon Prime is a new film by George Clooney, starring Ben Affleck and Christopher Lloyd. This is The Tender Bar. This is a story of a little boy who, with his mother, they're sort of on the skids a little bit. They move back in with their family, and it's a kooky family. Christopher Lloyd plays the grandfather. The mother is trying to find a good job. The father of this little boy is sort of MIA, not a good guy. He's a DJ in New York City. They live outside the city, a state or so away, I think, outside the city. And Affleck runs this bar called the Dickens, which is this literary themed bar, which has the usual working class barflies in it. And it's this fun, quirky kind of coming of age story where this little kid who's super sweet and curious about the world and kind of thinks he wants to maybe be a writer, misses his father, listens to his father on the sly on the radio, but when he meets up with his father is reminded of how a disappointing, not good guy he is. Affleck is the very protective uncle of this little boy, looking out for his sister, hates the father, the little kid's father, I should say, and is always there to try to be the father figure or mentor for the little boy, but also lets him do things that most adults wouldn't let a little kid do. So it's really funny. It's really heartwarming, but not in a cheesy way. The family dynamics are really amusing. Christopher Lloyd is great as this sort of really kind of crude grandfather who passes gas and sits in his chair most of the time, but when called upon will rise to the occasion. It's really, Affleck is really kind of the heart of this movie, though. And the kid's really good. Very, very enjoyable movie. Great period music. It's one of those movies where they use so many classic tunes. You're like, it must be because it's Clooney and Amazon that they could even afford to have these songs in there, but they're very appreciated. Set in the 70s into the early 80s maybe. And it goes along at a good pace, and then it shifts forward to the kid being a teenager and going off to college. And then you get his college experience and how he's learning to try to be a reporter for a major newspaper and chasing after a woman who may or may not care about him and all of those troubles, and occasionally going back home, in the summer and working at the bar or hanging out with his uncle again, and the continued guidance that he's provided. I thought the film was really good. I thought the strengths of the movie really were the first section. Like, I thought it lost its way a little bit. It was a bit uneven when the little boy became a young man and a man, so to speak, based on a memoir. So this is essentially a true story. And I was more interested in the little kid. So under the credits, you get more stuff with the little kid that are like really funny and hilarious and wildly inappropriate things for adults to be allowing kids to do. The barflies are this wonderful rogues gallery of oddball working class guys who all, have their beliefs, but all look out for the kid at the same time. They could be three sheets to the wind and cussing up a storm, but they make sure, the kid is in good hands. And it was a really fun movie. Just, it was a little uneven to me with the college section, the college and searching for work life, the burgeoning adulthood section of the film, as opposed to the burgeoning adolescent part. So I could sort of see why this probably wouldn't have been a successful theatrical release, because it doesn't hold together and it's not as streamlined as a straight ahead Hollywood movie would be. Clooney is one of those guys like Affleck who is a good actor, but also makes really good movies. I always said, as much as Affleck is a good or decent actor, I always felt like maybe he was actually a better director. The movies I've seen him make are really well done. So at any rate, Tender Bar is available now streaming on Amazon Prime.